shadow foam from Shadow Foam. Now this stuff is pretty psychedelic. I've had this in the workshop for a long time. And this is what you're supposed to do with it. Now this shadow foam stuff is pretty wicked. And what you just saw was its intended purpose.
What?
But as it's in my workshop, well, we won't be doing that with it today. So what we need to do is we need to chop up all of this foam into a bit more of a manageable pieces. Know what I'm saying? Now that is more manageable. Right, we can work with this. This is gonna be one crazy project, folks. Stick around for this one. Right, we have made our mold and we've knocked up some entropy resins. A little bit of entropy. I'm just going to use this just to seal kind of the edges in here and just put a little bit of resin in the sponges. I reckon that this is going to take up a lot of resin. Looking at the size of this thing, it's absolutely huge. Look at this. I don't even know if I'm going to get that on the lathe. I don't know. I've no idea what I'm going to be making yet. Right, there we go, folks. It's in there and it's still gonna need a little bit more. But hopefully not a lot more. We're gonna have to leave this now overnight. Well, actually, probably for about 3 or 4 days and then put some more in. 2 days later. Now the foam has been sat here for days. Actually, weeks. I used a slow hardener on this because there was so much resin. I had to use the slow because there was no way we were going to be able to do this with the fast. I did have a little bit of a leak, but I always put a bin bag around there just in case. It's a little tip from me. Put a bin bag around it because if it does leak, you don't want it going everywhere. Know what I'm saying? Right, let's crack this baby open. Look at this. I mean, it's actually quite light. I mean, you'd have thought it'd be really heavy because I put a lot of resin in this, a lot. But it's actually very, very light. So unless that the resin didn't seep into, you know, the sponge, the foam, then I guess that's what it's done. It didn't get quite to the top. I don't know why, I thought it did, but oh well, never mind. I'm sure we can do something with it, unless that's gonna pop off of there. I think it's gonna pop over there, actually. Might have to make this a little bit smaller than we originally planned, but there we go. But hey, I reckon that looks pretty cool. The question is, how is it gonna turn? Is it just gonna be obliterated once I get it on the lathe and fall into bits of foam all over the place? Or could we make something really funkadelic? Well, the only way to find out is to give it a whirl.
I like it a lot.
Now, I just want to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor today, Surfshark VPN. Now, most of you know what Surfshark VPN is and does. But for those of you that don't, a VPN is a virtual private network. I've got Surfshark on my mobile, my desktop, and my iPad. I don't go anywhere without them. I just come back from Spain, as you can see, and I'm always on Surfshark VPN over there because one of the benefits is that you can catch up on all the stuff that you can't watch when you're abroad. And I always like to tune into my favourite Netflix shows wherever I am. But as I said, that's just one benefit. I've actually got some special news for you just for June. Starting from the 1st of June until the 4th of July, Surfshark are going to be adding their free antivirus to the already awesome package. Now with that, you get advanced malware protection. Apart from manual, scheduled and real-time scans, Surfshark Cloud Protect system analyzes unknown files just to prevent zero-day attacks. The reason why I love Surfshark as well is because it's so easy to use. There's so many other products out there with tabs all over the place, you don't know where you're going with it. These guys just offer a simple, effective interface. I mean, your security should never play hard to get, right? With Surfshark VPN, when you connect to the internet, all of your information is kind of like blurred. It's all encrypted, so nobody can snoop about and steal your information. Plus, they won't be able to see what you're up to. And these days, we keep everything on our phones, our desktops, and you won't want to share all that with everyone, would you? Using the VPN is just like wearing pants when you go outside. All the important stuff stays private and secure. All you got to do to get this absolutely awesome deal from Surfshark is head on over to surfshark.deals/Zammeti and enter my promo code just for you, Zammeti. You're gonna get 83% off and 3 months extra for free. Plus, as a bonus, you get the antifreeze. As a bonus, you get the antivirus software too. Remember folks, that's surfshark.deals/Zammeti. Right folks, as you can see, this is way too big for my little lathe. And my lathe's not even little. So it needs a bit of chopping down. I already taken a few bits off on the bandsaw, but it's going to need a lot more than that. So what I'm going to do, what I had a thought about doing is, because I actually don't think that there's a lot of resin in this, you know. I actually think that the resin hasn't got or penetrated through. So I'm not too sure how this is going to work out, to be fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the grinder to this. And I'm going to give it a bit of grinding. Okay, folks, this isn't working. So I started to grind down to try to sort of like, well, better grind it. And it just looks as though that there's just no resin that has got into there, hence why it was really light. So I've been pouring all this resin in, it's just basically sealed like a cocoon the outside of the foam, and it's not penetrated in the slightest. So all this is going to do is I'm just going to end up just chopping away all of the resin that we put in there, and then just reveal what we put in there. So I know what you're thinking. It's another Zammeti failed project. It is. I'm not going to be able to do anything with this, unfortunately. I really am not. I mean, because if I grind it down, if I put it on the lathe, there's just going to be nothing there left. You can see already, look, so there's nothing there at all. And I've just, like this, the resin, I just started to sort of like shave this off. And look, it just pops off. Makes a kind of cool pattern though. Something, I guess. So, yeah, I think shadow foam is probably best used for its intended purpose. Sorry, Jonathan. Well, at least I showed you what it can do and what it can't.
You're what the French call les incompetents. What?
But it does seem such a shame not to make anything with it, right? Just made a huge licorice all sort, basically. Yes, from foam to resin to foam again. Basically, yep, I just wasted a load of resin. Thanks to all of you that stuck with me on this one. I mean, it's quite big actually. I mean, I put this in there because it's kind of what I had floating around in the shed, but you could obviously put anything in the top of it. It's kind of a funky looking vase, quite a colourful one with a little base. You can take this off, obviously it's not fixed in there, so you don't have to use the piece of wood that I put it on, but I kind of thought that I'll do something extra. Just to make the project a little bit more worthwhile doing, really. But actually, you know, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I kind of was going to do that type of project, but on the lathe. But clearly, it was a good one. It was a good one to kind of work out to see actually what happened, or more to the point, what would happen if you kind of dunked foam into resin. Now I'm thinking, because it is quite dense, that obviously the resin didn't seep into it. But I think if we used foam, not foam, I think if we used like sponge, like quite a really good spongy sponge, it would work. But it didn't obviously on this one, but there we go. It is coated in resin, so it's stuck there, it's not going anywhere. It's pretty solid. As I say, you can take this off of here and just have it as a big vase, really. But I made the base anyway for it. Also, that gave me somewhere to stick my maker's mark. Well, I do hope that you did enjoy this project. It's colourful, but I mean, coming from me, they kind of always are. I just want a quick mention to you folks that probably already on it, but we do have the Maker Central app is now out. We are actually going to change a few things on it. There's been a few updates on it, if you haven't seen already. Check your Apple Store or Google Play Store for the updates. There's a couple of good updates that have just been released to fix a few bugs and things like that. And we're also changing the project part of it to how-tos. That's going to come out in the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks, because the app was really intended to help others kind of like show how you made things. It wasn't really there to take over Instagram or YouTube. It was just really to help the community. And I think by adding up the project side of things, I think that's kind of not really grasping it's not really grasping what we wanted to achieve. So we're maintaining the structure, but changing it to how-tos. So you'll be able to add up your step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, 5, 6, add links to where you can get those tools and materials, and also show others how they can make that same thing too, with a how-to. But I will have a dedicated video just explaining a bit more in detail about how the how-tos are going to work within the app. But if you're not on there, please check it out. It's on the App Store, it's on the Google Store, I'm on there. It's a bit slow obviously at the moment, but content will pick up, I think, especially when we add the new how-to section. If you can't find it, there's a link below. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching this crazy, experimented, kind of weird shadow foam vase. I hope you like this one, shadow foam. And if you want to get some of this stuff, I'll leave a link below for you. A little bit of discount on there from these guys. And if you follow my link, it also helps me and the channel out, but doesn't cost you any more. Lastly, I want to say thanks to all my Patreons and members of this channel. You are pretty amazing. Thank you so much for your support. I will be doing a live stream very, very soon, so we can all catch up then. And yes, comments will be turned on for everyone. I made that mistake last time. Take care, folks, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Ciao.